I was waiting for the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to react to the statement from Mwangi Kiunjuri before I could put up this analysis. And ladies and gentlemen, this video is dedicated to my viewers from Mount Kenya. This is a warning. It is a warning I have for you. But first, listen to Rigathi Gachagua.
To clarify, when the cabinet was dissolved, Mercy, the secretary to cabinet, was not touched because people have been asking, Mercy yako wapi? So there was no need to reappoint her because he was there from the word go. So I have seen many people, all sorts of analysts and newspaper people and commentators commenting about gains and losses. Which region got what, which one lost, which one didn't, who is strong, who is not. I think the whole thing is a win for the people of Kenya. And for us as a region, we are very happy that Mercy adds our numbers. And we are very proud of our performance from a daughter of this region and her commitment to public service and assisting the president in the management of the affairs of this country. I want to say that let us all remain united as a country. We have just gone through very difficult periods. In moderate, I agree with you 100%. That those who took advantage of well-intentioned peaceful protests to loot property, to steal, to maim, to hurt, those are idiots. I agree with you. They are even more idiots and more idiotic as those who try to take advantage of the whole scenario to settle political scores with those they don't support or those they have a problem with. Trying to apportion blame, trying to say this and that. Those are even more idiotic than those idiots. And I agree with your sermon entirely. Let people know that Kenyans are also very intelligent people. The people of this great country have come of age. They see from far, they analyze, and they know. As you speak of any situation, have tremendous respect for the people of Kenya. People are not foolish. There is no shortage of fools in this country. People are fairly intelligent and very analytical. And the ordinary Kenyans are ahead of us leaders. They know many things. And they see. And they can tell. And they understand. Let us respect the people of Kenya, because the people of Kenya are fairly intelligent people. And they know very many things. I want to take this opportunity to really thank Professor Njuguna for your very outstanding performance at the National Treasury. I want to say we are very proud of you as our son from this region. We know where you found our economy and your stewardship of the National Treasury. As you hand over to the new nominee, walk with your head tall. You worked hard for late hours. You came to cabinet and presented clear and concrete proposals. As our son, we are really, really very proud of your performance and your achievement. And let me encourage you that when God closes one door, God opens another door. And we wish you well. But you, as you retreat, know that we are very proud of your achievements. How I had the order from Nairobi West. I don't know. The last time I checked, Nairobi West PCA was the only church in Nairobi preaching in the Gikuyu. Is that still the situation? Let me tell you, Elder, I heard you complaining that in Nairobi.
That statement is very ironical. He's responding, he's saying two things. Those who hijacked the protest for their ill motives are idiots. But those who are also taking advantage to that of that situation to advance their sinister political motives are equally idiots. Now, this is what Rigathi Gachagua was responding to. And this is why I want to issue a warning. I have seen multiple videos, people reacting. Mwangi Kiunjuri, the Laikipia East Member of Parliament, one of the senior MPs from the region, I was a bit more disappointed when I saw Mwangi Kiunjuri falling for the Kenya Kwanza, for the William Ruto trap. Mwangi Kiunjuri made a statement 2 days ago, and he said that it is Mount Kenya that made the mistake, and that is why Raila Odinga is in government. He's saying it is not William Ruto who brought Raila in government. It is Mount Kenya that have created the problem why Raila Odinga joined the government. And what he's saying, that in the last protest, some MPs from Mount Kenya and some 2 Azimio MPs who allegedly this MP had been promised by a powerful figure within Kenya Kwanza coming from Mount Kenya that he will be handed Nairobi governor's ticket are the ones that paid youths 20,000 and 10,000, or rather ferried youths from different other counties to Nairobi so that they can protest and storm the parliament. According to Mwangi Kiunjuri, he is supporting and buying in that political trap by William Ruto that Mount Kenya are the ones that sponsored the protest. And the reason I'm saying a bit disappointed that a senior leader like Mwangi Kiunjuri understands very well that the government has the intelligence, government has the machinery to intercept, expose, and show the country. If indeed that would have been the situation, then one thing you would have seen is these MPs would have been arrested. And any sort of that funding thing would have been exposed by the state. Unless the Laikipia East Member of Parliament is gullible enough and wants to convince the country that our intelligence is weak. But I am a bit warning, and this is my warning to Mount Kenya. Regarding Gachagua, I have been seeing some leaders from the region saying that Rigathi Gachagua bad-mouthed Mount Kenya from government by the trivial shareholding and the trivial mulima and shareholding statements. Of course, those statements were very disparaging. They were not very good statements. But for anyone, any leader from Mount Kenya, to try to float a narrative that the reason why William Ruto got into that mongrel agreement with Raila is to annoy, or rather to anger, Rigathi Gachagua, that is a petty reason to bring in Raila in government. I think we need to be very objective. And I am seeing Mount Kenya leaders falling for that trap. And the reason why I'm a bit disappointed here is, on this Gen Z protest, government, and I've been saying in this video, in this channel, that government did not have a specific narrative. It started with Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto are sponsoring. And then it went to some Mount Kenya billionaires are sponsoring the protest. Then it went to Raila Odinga team are sponsoring the protest. Then it ended up on Ford Foundation. When the president went in Nakuru and said that the Ford Foundation, in fact, some NGOs are even put on red list for investigation for funding the protest. So Mwangi Kiunjuri understands, and someone who has been in cabinet understands, that government, Kenya Kwanza government, is always also being run by political propaganda. So by Mount Kenya, in what is seen as a strategy to try to outdo Rigathi Gachagua, to carry the 2 years mess of Ruto administration is being unfair to the residents of Mount Kenya. In fact, while Mwangi, Kiunjuri and the team are saying that, Ferdinand Waititu, the former Kiambu governor, is slapping William Ruto with the betrayal card.
Sasa saa hii nyinyi wote kama mimi, sisi ndio tulichagua Mheshimiwa William Ruto kwa chama cha UDA. Ninasema ukweli ama uongo? Hebu nione ni wangapi walichagua Ruto hapa na UDA. Hebu nione mkono watu wale tulichagua UDA. Si nyinyi wote mlikuwa wa UDA? Sisi ndio tulimchagua. Sisi ndio tunaona tulidanganywa ama hatukudanganywa. Alitudanganya ama hakutudanganya? Hebu chukueni mkono wale wanaamini tulidanganywa. Si ni kweli? Si tulidanganywa zaidi sana. Lakini tumesema ukidanganya Mkikuyu na mtu wa Mount Kenya na Mkenya vile ametudanganya, mambo yako inaenda mlama. Ni si hata nyinyi mnaona vile hii serikali inaenda. Ama muoni? Isn't it? Kwa sababu mambo yake yote imeonekana ni ya uongo. Uongo ya mwisho sasa ni hii juzi. Sasa alikuwa ametuambia hakuna siku ambayo kutakuwa na serikali ya nusu mkate. Alisema ama hakusema? Si alisema? Kwa hutakuwa na serikali ya nusu mkate na hakuna siku Raila Odinga ataingia kwa serikali. Saa hii ameingia ama hajaingia? Ameingia ama hajaingia? Hebu chukueni mkono kama mimi nasema ukweli. Si sasa serikali ni nusu mkate? Ile kitu imetufurahisha. Sisi kama watu wa Mount Kenya ametuacha kwa mataa. Saa hii ile ministry, ile wizara mzuri kabisa sasa imechukuliwa na ODM. Wizara ile iko na nguvu sasa imechukuliwa na ODM. Sisi watu wa Mount Kenya ukiangalia ni ministry gani tumepewa, wewe utajiuliza na hiyo inafanyanga nini? Tumepata haujulikani. Hazina nguvu zile tumepewa. Kazi yetu ni kupewa kitabati, tuko na bendera lakini hakuna kitu. Ni moyo huo kaendelea nania.
And this is what he's saying. So, and I'm not saying that is better, but compare that with a senior politician in the caliber of Mwangi Kiunjuri floating a narrative that Kenya Kwanza seemed to have collapsed because of Mount Kenya. I think that is giving the people from that region a necessary burden. The government belonged to William Ruto. And the Gen Z protest that was based on the finance bill was a culmination of deep-seated dissatisfaction with the government. It is not the first time that Ruto was here. The last protest that Azimio la Umoja were leading by Raila Odinga, why not that Raila Odinga was the leader and decided to go into that negotiation with Raila Odinga, with the government, it would have ended up somewhere close to what we witnessed. But because Raila is a negotiator and always strives to pull that statesmanship, I don't buy it though, always tries to pull that statesmanship, that is why the 2023 protest was able to be aborted by the Azimio team. And so, and when the things that people were talking about, when the country spoke about drop the finance bill on the taxation, remove the funding on the office of the first lady and the second lady, look into cabinet secretaries that have been corrupt, were those things specifically itemized for Mount Kenya? The answer is no. And so I want to repeat here. It's a disgrace for a leader in the caliber of Mwangi Kiunjuri, who is a senior most leader from Mount Kenya, to insinuate and carry that political narrative. I know It is a political cross that thrives in some assumption that when we blame Rigathi for the Kenya Kwanza mess, that William Ruto will not pick Rigathi as the running mate in 2027. And probably that will be some excitement. Let me tell you, Ruto likes it, he doesn't like it, he does what? He meets Raila, he meets who? The 2027 running mate is Rigathi Gachagua. Otherwise, a betrayal card is in the offing. And if you want to know, Rigathi is not a pushover. Before, I've seen he's been given back his back his chopper. Look at how Rigathi tired Ruto in the middle. And Ruto could not go to Mount Kenya. He went and roared in the mountain. He was roaring in the mountain. And Ruto had to get away to bring him back. So I think even if you want to settle a political score with Rigathi Gachagua, but you should not carry that burden. I think it's a bit unfair for the Wanjikus in Murang'a, in Nyeri, in Kirinyaga, in Laikipia, in Kiambu, to try to insinuate that the broad-based mongrel arrangement between Ruto and Raila is there because of Rigathi Gachagua, because of Mount Kenya. I think that is taking it too far. And this is why I feel the Mount Kenya region should not fall for that trap, even if you want to endear yourself to William Ruto. But at what cost? I know the likes of Mwangi Kiunjuri will want to be the next running mates. But at what cost? At what costs? And I'm saying this, they should not fall for that trap because even the State House narrative creators, the state advisors and Kenya Kwanza, the whole Kenya Kwanza battalion, could not settle on one political narrative to counter the Gen Zs. If Ruto mentioned Fond, he mentioned Raila, he mentioned Uhuru, he mentioned Rigathi, there was so and so. There were so many other people that have been mentioned around it. Then, if the government could not settle on one person, then why is Mount Kenya carrying the burden? And if it is true, I want to believe the MP who was even once a cabinet member have access to the president, the intelligence, and everyone and anyone in this country, maybe to submit those names instead of, I've always had a problem with politicians behaving like itumbis. Let us run those speculations. Let us run those narratives because we are not at the privilege probably with privy information. So we can provoke, then those with the correct position will come and clarify. And then the story ends there. That is it. But a leader who talks as if he has all the evidence around it should not carry the whole region into something that is not their burden. The truth of the matter here, the 2 years of Kenya Kwanza have been a sham, and it is not about Kenya problem. Then the second reason why I think they should not fall for this trap is the State House and President Ruto remote controlled the government. He was hands-on. A good example. How many projects, if you count the number of projects that are supposed to be, that were launched by the President Ruto on behalf of ministries, they are more than what even a minister has launched. The outgoing cabinet launched few projects at an individual level compared to what the president even launched. There's some projects like the closest even launching a toilet, launching a water tap in Kirinyaga. I saw in Tarakanite just the other day, launching some administration blocks of primary schools, buildings and structures events that are supposed to be done by a cabinet. So William Ruto has been hands-on. And you cannot say that a saboteur in government. Moses Kuria badmouthed the government when he was in the trade. But when he was pushed from trade to that other Ministry of Public Service, he was there. CS Ndungu had some of the policies, but there was a whole lot of advisors. So I think it's unfair to carry that narrative. Number three. Ruto will retain Rigathi for peace. And I can tell you, there's no way. He will retain Rigathi. But the danger of that narrative, it is lowering the bargain power of Mount Kenya. It's lowering the bargain. And I've always been asking, I can ask, if today Rigathi Gachagua decides to leave William Ruto and join hands with Kalonzo Musyoka, I saw Kalonzo in Nyeri, and join hands with Kalonzo Musyoka for 2027, Mount Kenya will be split in the middle. There are those, and probably Rigathi might even have the majority with the Kalonzo side. And so, when the region is split, it means even Ruto's card here will be to lower the bargain for Mount Kenya. I think, and I still insist, that the 2027 political matrix must change if the Gen Z sustains their accountability check. So that when we get to 2027, we'll be talking about the real issues. And lastly, the Gen Z politics was based on deep governance lapses. And it is unfair to try to insinuate that all that was just because of a region. So do you want to tell me that Gen Z went to the street, even the person, let's assume that person was from Mount Kenya, as Mwangi Kiunjuri are saying. So that person did that so that Ruto would pick out someone out of Mount Kenya, kick out Mount Kenya? No. And they've gotten 7 slots anyway. Out of the 32, they still have 34% of government. And Rigathi was saying they've had their share. So I think it's unfair. And so, to my disappointment is senior leaders who are supposed to understand the political terrain that is going on and run with it. They should not give it that. I think the protests were issue-based. I can agree that probably there was a powerful force behind it. It's possible. But that powerful force then was advancing a governance agenda, because when people went on the streets, when they were being asked questions, they were talking about ministers who are corrupt. They were talking about unnecessary offices that are gobbling public money. They were talking about overtaxation that is choking the economy. So I've always said, the story developed until it came to Ruto must go, was a matter of defiance, that we are asking you do this and you're not doing this, and that's why you must go. So I think we need to understand, and to that point, Mount Kenya must be very careful on what they say next on this. Thank you.